Simply because you think you're working hard does not mean you're going to get to that level where you're successful. Excuse me. And a lot of you think that you working hard, putting extra hours, doing more work is going to make you a lot of money. And I'm telling you for a fact that it's not going to happen that way. Now, understand something. Understand one simple concept. More work is not equals to more money. Let me just even put that down. The last time we had a class like this, I ran out of markers. I was using 2 markers, but this time I got 4 so that I get to teach you everything I need to teach you. Now, more work, right, is not equal to more money. In fact, there are some people who go ahead and say that when you decide to do less things, you start to make a lot more money. I will talk about that later in today's video. Hope you guys are doing good. Now, another thing I want to point out again, relating to this right here, is that life in itself does not work in this principle. No. But, of course, there must be some kind of work that has to be done in order for a kind of profit or a kind of... So for something to happen, it's very important that it happens that particular way. But then again, you have to get this out of the way that you doing more work does not necessarily mean you are going to make more money. But there are instances, there are circumstances where you have to put in more work to get more output, which can invariably make you more money. But in a general sense, you just working or you just taking more hours does not necessarily make you more money, especially when you're a business guy or you're an entrepreneur, because you might be doing more work and end up filling somebody else's pocket. And when you find out that that's the case, it usually makes you depressed. But first and foremost, we need to ask one particular question. Why? Why is hard work not equal to success? And I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to be using my blue. I'm going to tell you why hard work is not equals to success. Now, there are 3 reasons. There are 3 basic reasons. There are so many reasons why hard work is not equals to success, but there are 3 basic reasons. Reason 1 is that, very simple, life is unfair. All right? We're living currently in an unfair world. Now, the reason why I feel that life is unfair is because by default, everybody is not born with the same circumstances, but we all have the same opportunities. Now, what I simply mean is, you might be born in a third world country like myself, but you have the ability or you have the opportunity to get where you want to be. But the materials and the things that you need to get to that particular level might not be there by default, right? Because, for instance, as someone who is a Nigerian trying to expand, trying to do more things abroad or stuff like that, you're just stereotyped immediately, and people just not want to react to just because you're a Nigerian, even if you're a good person. So that's like my case, okay? And it can happen to a lot of people depending on where you're from or depending on how things are. And I don't really want to go deep into talking about how unfair life is. I'm sure you know that there's so many times where you've done everything right and you just feel that for some reason it doesn't just click for you. It is not just you. It doesn't just work for you. So it's just life, all right? Just get on with it. That's exactly how life is. Now, number 2, the second reason why hard work is not equal to success, and I'll tell you how to make hard work for you recently in a very few amounts of time. The second reason why hard work is not equal to success is the world is run based on emotions, basically based on emotions and feelings. Now, whichever level you want to get to in life, there's always somebody on that path to you getting it. So which means that at many points in your life, you're going to need somebody to say yes in order for you to move up the ladder. Now, those people or that particular person that has to say yes might be a very emotional person. Now, if this person is an emotional person and you understand that he's running based on feelings and emotions, his feelings and emotions based on the time where you had contact with that particular person can affect your success and affect your progress, no matter how hard it seems that you've worked. Very simple. And that's the reason why you find yourself in a situation whereby you've done everything right and somebody just looks at you and like, damn, I'm not in a good mood. Get the fuck. I'm not trying to get YouTube to take down this video, but you get what I'm saying. So, the world is run based on feelings and emotions. There are people who merit a lot of things, but because they don't just feel a certain way, because they don't just vibe with you, they decide that, oh, you are not going to have that particular position. Like I told you, on your ladder up, there's always somebody or something or a group of people that has to say yes in order for you to move to the next level. That's just life. Now, the last reason, all right, like I told you, there's so many reasons, but these are the basic reasons. The last basic reason why success is not equal to hard work is that success is not a straight line. Sorry, hard work is not equal to success. Is that success is not a straight line. So now everybody else thinks that this is the way to succeed. So this is you, and this is success to you, right? This is success to you, okay? This guy. Good. And this is what everybody thinks by default. Now, as somebody who grew up in a normal third world country and never thought about starting any business, I was in the first class throughout my university days. I read a lot of books, I was studying civil engineering while I was in school. I want to let you know that the average dream of an average parent, like I said, average parents. Now, when I say average parent, I mean parents that, how do I put it now, that are not wealthy, that went through the normal process of the system of the government. This is what they think about success for you. So you're born, let's say a Jew, you're born here, and after you're born, probably around like age 9 or 10, you get into high school, and you finish high school by like maybe age 15. Once you're done with high school, you age 15, 16 or 17, or however your life circumstances are, you finish the university maybe 20 or 21, and you go get your master's. You be done with your master's by maybe 23, 25. You get married by 25, and you work the rest of your life, right? This is the average dream of a lot of people. And this basically summarizes the life of so many people, okay? You work the rest of your life. Now, the truth is that, and once people of course, when you get to this part where you work the rest of your life, people presume that you should be making money by now. You have kids, you can help everybody around you and stuff like that. But this is all wrong, and it is not a wrong system, but it's not a system that works for every single person, because there are different ways that everybody else approaches life. There are different ways that different people like to perceive life. There are different things that a lot of people want to do in life in order for them to make life make sense to them. Good. Let me use myself as a case study, all right? I passed through all these parts. All these first stages are like quite pretty easy down to this point when you're 20, 21. And I tell people every single time that between 21 to 23, for girls between 18 to 23 is where your life has to be, like, that's where you have to prepare to put your life in shape. It's super important, right? And now, people think that by the time you graduate from this particular university here, you should automatically get a very good job if you have good grades. Yes, you should, right? That's what should happen. But 90% of the time, what nobody lets you know, or what nobody tells you, is that you do not necessarily get the job you want. And for you to get the job you want, there are factors that have to be put in place in order for you to get that particular job you want. And it's not just about your grades, or it's not just about your perfect score in the university or whatever. And that now brings us to one thing I'm sure that all of you here agree with. I'm sure you agree that success, right, or hard work, I'm sure you agree that hard work plus smart work is now what invariably leads to success. I'm sure you agree with that. But you just saying smart work doesn't really make a lot of sense, because somebody who is deceptive can be termed smart. So that now gives us the question that, okay, what exactly does it mean to work smart? And hard work or smart work is just a variation of hard work. Smart work is a type of hard work because there's still work being done, but here this one is hard while this is smart. But when you combine the both of them, would we say smart hard work? It's just smart work on steroids. All right. But what exactly is even smart work? So let's go back to it. So I have to clean this. Let's go back to it. So how do you achieve smart work? Okay. How do you what? Achieve smart work. Now, you guys need to pay attention. It's super important. Now there are 5 pillars that makes hard work smart. And once you put in these 5 pillars, there's a 100% chance that, let me not say 100%, there's a higher percentage of chance that you are going to make a lot of money for yourself, or you're going to succeed in whatever it is that you're trying to do right now. Because I usually tell you guys that you not making money is not the problem of the system, it is you. So once you fix you, the system starts to work for you. Good. Five pillars. So 5 pillars that make hard work smart work. All right. Number 1, direction. I cannot count how many times in my life I've seen a lot of people who work extremely hard with 0 direction. Why are you working hard if you are not going to work hard with a predetermined goal in heart? Because when you try to work hard without necessarily having a predetermined goal, you're just doing free labor basically. So the first thing you need to put in place when you're working hard is, okay, where exactly am I going to? What exactly is the use, or what exactly is the end goal of this particular work that I'm doing? Because I remember back in school, I think they told us that work is equals to what? Force times distance. Now, if you're moving in a particular distance and there's no direction and you're moving in circles, there's no way. So for instance, if work is equals to force times distance, right? Work here. So you have to cover this distance. But imagine I'm here, right here, and I'm just, going round. I'm spinning in the same circle, right? There's no distance covered, but work was done. So work can be done without distance. So now, if work equals to force times distance, right? If work is equals to force times distance, and distance is equals to 0, right? Work is equals to 0. All right? Now, if work is still equals to force times distance, for you to have any form of distance, there has to be movement. And for you to have any form of movement, there has to be what? Direction. So that shows you why direction is super important when you're trying to succeed, or when you're trying to make your hard work turn into success for you. Now, number 2, this is my favorite law. All right. Law of others. So now this laws of others is broken down into 2. The use of people and things. Now, remember I told you guys earlier on that in order for you to make a lot of money, right? Or for you to go up the ladder of success, there's always going to be somebody or something on your way that has to say yes in order for you to move on to the next level. Now that takes us to, how exactly do you ensure that this person or this thing always says yes in order for you to move up to the level? Now let's talk about the law of others and people. Now, most people who always isolate themselves are 90% more likely never to succeed. Your chances of succeeding goes really high when you just simply know the right people to talk to whenever you need something, and know the right people to associate with. When it comes to the law of things, what we're talking about is leverage. This is 2024. So at the time of recording this video, there is no longer any need for you to need 1,000 people, 10 million people. But there's a high chance that you need more than one thing in order for you to succeed. So that thing can be stuff like the internet. The internet alone automatically increases your chances of success by like 30%. There are so many people out there who, quote unquote, are not doing anything that really makes sense, but just because of the fact that they are on the internet and they are seen makes them. You get? Now, the law of people networking, super important. I never get tired of talking about networking. Every single video I make, I find a way to chip it in, and it is on purpose. Because a lot of you don't really understand how powerful people are. There's this guy I follow on the internet, he's a pastor, and he says something, right? He says, if God wants to bless you, God is not going to come down from heaven and come to bless you. God is going to send a man and use that man to bless you. So which means that blessings comes from God through men to men. All right? Get that into your brain. So the more people you associate with, the higher the chances that you might meet that person God is going to use as a blessing into your life. That's a life hack right there. Now, number 3, the law number 3, flexibility. Now, if you guys remember this our line of life, right? When you get to age 21, age 16 to 21 is practically the dumbest you will ever be in your life. 100%. Because 90% of the things that you do around this beginning age of your life is somebody else's dream and not necessarily yours. Around this age, the world has put it in such a way whereby you're not old enough to think for yourself. Which means that your dad asks you to be a doctor. You decide that you want to become a doctor in future, and you like think that that's what you're supposed to be in future. And suddenly you're 21 now, you're in medical school, and you're like, I actually don't want to be a doctor. But you've worked so hard. You had straight A's, but you're not just feeling it. That okay, I think I cannot be a doctor. When you think about all these things, you get to understand that everything that you have done from age 0 to literally 16 to 21 was just rubbish. Now, that is when you need to be flexible. It is okay, it's totally fine to dump everything you've done here and chase what you feel is what you're meant for. Because now, that's the reason why a lot of people end up unhappy, despite the fact that they look happy to the outside world. And that's a problem for a lot of people. Number 4. Network and likability. Now, when you go to the outside world, you will understand very fast and very clearly that most people are helped to be successful because they are liked. Your ability to make people like you will take you really far. Nobody gives an opportunity to the person that they don't like. That is it. Remember, I told you on your ladder to success, there is always going to be one person or people or a thing that has to say yes in order for you to make it good. So when you have the ability to make these people like you, right? And of course, you do that through networking. And how do you network? You network by having a broad knowledge on literally everything. Everything should interest you. All right? Everything should interest you. Good. Now, once everything interests you, it's always very easy for you to network with as many people as possible because you can engage in as many conversations as possible. Get that? I remember very clearly back then when I wanted to start playing tennis, and I cannot tell you how many like really super rich people I've met. Because one thing with someone who comes from a really poor background or somebody who comes from an average background is that you are most likely going to need more people than the average guy who is already like well-to-do, who just needs his family. And when I say more people, you're going to need more of strangers than your family friends or family members, because your family members are not rich and that's why you're not really rich. Remember that the rich will move with the rich and the poor move with the poor. So you have to find a way to break into the atmosphere or the circle of the rich if you want to become rich. And how do you do that? You need to understand the time, the places, and the activities and what the rich talk about, and learn those things and start to have conversations with the rich so that you can understand how the rich moves. Simple. Good. So, most times, if you need to succeed, people have to like you. All right? Whether you want to become a politician, whether you want to become a doctor, a scientist, or whatever, it's to get to a point whereby people will need to push you up. And if they don't like you, you're not going anywhere. So that's out of the way. Now, the last but not the least is what I call cancellation and adaptation. Wow, we've gone a long way today. Now, what do I mean by cancellation and adaptation? It's very simple. Your ability to unlearn is going to take you further than your ability to learn. Because as you grow or as you develop in life, there are so many things that become outdated and you have to update yourself in order for you to catch up with what the world is bringing to you. So it is okay and it is nice if you cancel some of your old beliefs. For instance, some people do not even believe that they can make a lot of money. If you do not cancel that thought, that mentality right now, there's no way you can make a lot of money. Simple. So the moment you understand that cancellation and adaptation is one of the things that can really take you really far. Like you need to unlearn and learn. So you can call this unlearn and you can call this learn. All right. So we can call it unlearning and learning. Okay, because on your path to success, as you work hard, there are some things that you're going to do, right? And those things are going to be mistakes. Okay, and mistakes are totally fine. Every skill is learned due to repeated mistakes that are being avoided automatically by there's like an autonomous system in your body that sees and records all the mistakes that you make and avoids it in order for you to have success in the future. So which means that the more mistakes you make, right, the faster you learn that particular skill. So that's the reason why they tell you that a man who has mastered one particular kick 1,000 times, how did Bruce Lee even say it, is better than the one who knows 1,000 kicks and has done only once. Because there's a high chance that if you're choosing between those 1,000 kicks, you never really get it right. You never really get that one particular one right. But once you've mastered one kick 1,000 times, you know exactly how to kick to get the maximum efficiency from that particular hit. So your ability to learn and unlearn is always going to take you like really far if you want to succeed. Now, if you put all these things together, direction, the law of others, that's people and things, flexibility, hard work, and cancellation and adaptation, or learning and unlearning, is obviously going to make your hard work turn into what? Success. All right? So what I want you to do now is that I want you to think and say, okay, what I've been doing recently in my life, and this is not just necessarily about you who is doing an online business or stuff like that. All things I've been doing recently in my life, how exactly, or is there any law or pillar here that I've been violating? Example, have I been trying to achieve things without necessarily having any direction? And your direction can be in goals. If you watch our last video, we talked about how to set goals and how to achieve them. Now, the law of others. Are there people I'm supposed to be talking to and bonding with that I'm not talking to right now and is affecting me? Okay. The next one, flexibility. What I'm doing right now, is it something I actually want to do, or it was something I was told to do as a young child when you were in your early stages right here? Number 4, am I in the right network? Because being in the right network, you're just 1 or 2 information away from literally changing the way you do business and the way your life is. And the last but not the least is there something that is serving as a mental barrier right now in my life that is making me not to be able to learn the things that needs to help me make a lot of money or make me succeed? I'm always going to be seeing a lot of money because I'm a money guy, right? So think about all these things in perspective, and I'm very sure that your life is going to get better. So tune in. Tomorrow we have another video just like this again, but with a different topic, and I'll be happy to share my knowledge with you every time, any day. Cheers.